That's right. I wore them. This is for you, Anna. Can't believe I'm putting this on the internet. All right, we've got example 3 here. We got 2 different examples. Our first one, 8x squared plus 32x plus 32. We are going to factor and solve. Now, hopefully you're recognizing when you look at that, you say, oh, 8, 32, 32. I could factor an 8 out of all of those, and you're going to do that. But here's the thing that's different about this compared to when you are just factoring a, my gosh, my brain's not working, an expression. This is an equation. In an expression, you factor out the 8, it's got to stay out in front. When you factor an equation, it might not necessarily need to stay out in front. In this case, it doesn't. Because if I take an 8 out of everything on the left side of the equal sign and the right side, we're fine. And when I do that, I end up with x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 0. These two equations are equivalent. What's here in black and what's here now in purple. They are equivalent. It is fine that we just took an 8 out of everything. You need to take it out of the right side, but 0 divided by 8 is just 0, so that's not going to change. So now we're going to factor this. We look here. X times x is x squared. It's got to be plus 2, right? So this is similar to the example we saw in the last video in example 2. So I know it's going to be x plus 2 equals 0 or x plus 2 equals 0. These are both the exact same thing. I don't need 2 of them, so I just subtract 2, and I end up with x equals -2 as my answer. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one here, x squared minus 6x equals 0. Our problem with this one is there's no third term. There's no c. We've got our x squared plus our bx, but we don't have a plus c. Like over here, we have this plus 32. We don't have that. So this one works a little differently, but we still are solving it by factoring. We can't unfoil it because it's not a trinomial. But what we can do is I can look at this x squared and an x, and I see that. What could I factor out? Hopefully you're coming up with you can factor out an x. If I take an x out, that's now x minus 6 equals 0. So I took an x out of each term, and I end up with x times x minus 6 equals 0. Now, if you go back to the first problem we did, I talked about how when you multiply 2 things and get 0, one of them has to equal 0. So what we're saying now, this is x times x minus 6. So either x has to be 0 or x minus 6 has to be 0. So I'm going to split it just like we did where x equals 0 or x minus 6 equals 0. Obviously this one's already solved, x equals 0. Over here we just add 6 to each side. I get x equals 6. I'll just bring that down so it looks good. And we got either x equals 0 or x equals 6. All right, so that is all of the examples. Please email me if you have any questions. And